don't bother looking for his silhouette. This time, Chaplin is behind the camera. A Woman of Paris was made in 1922. It was Charlie Chaplin's first production for United Artists, which he had founded 3 years earlier with Douglas Fairbanks, Mary Pickford, and D.W. Griffith. Chaplin was then 33 and had long considered the idea of directing a dramatic motion picture. The story concerns two young people engaged to one another and who, separated by a cruel twist of fate, meet again in Paris a few years later. Though Jean has remained faithful to his artistic aspirations, Marie has become the mistress of a debonair but cynical man about town, Pierre. Chaplin immediately saw this film as a watershed in his career, so that's why for once he decided to put aside his beloved tramp costume and not act in the film. Edna Purviance, who was his real-life companion and his partner in half of his earlier films, played the female lead. Chaplin based the film's story on the confidences of a certain Peggy Hopkins Joyce.
The term gold digger was coined in honor of Peggy around 1920.
A dancer friend of Peggy's, herself one of the Ziegfeld girls.
After she divorced her first millionaire with $1 million settlement, she became a Ziegfeld girl, from which strategic launching she went on to net, believe it or not, 4 more millionaire husbands in rapid succession. In 1922, she arrived in Hollywood, bent on a film career. When she visited Charlie's studio, he was intrigued by this former country girl and self-made woman of the world. They were inseparable for a couple of weeks. They even took a trip to Catalina Island. And Hollywood gossip marked Chaplin as Peggy's 6th conquest. But Peggy was soon to realize that Charlie was not to become one of her more profitable ventures and moved on to more promising quarry. It was Charlie who gained from the liaison, which he was to describe as bizarre but brief. Peggy had given him the idea for his next film.
Originally, Chaplin intended to call his film Public Opinion and then Destiny. He even considered a good dozen other titles before settling on A Woman of Paris, making it clear that his film was in no way intended as a satire of the American way of life. Still, when the film was released in 1923, the public stayed away and several states banned it on grounds of immorality. 80 years on, A Woman of Paris, an unjustly underrated film, represents an important milestone in the history of motion pictures and remains a benchmark for many filmmakers.
I can tell you exactly what I remember. It must have been 1923 or 4. I knew quite a lot about films, but only in a very superficial and the way the ordinary public thinks about films. And then I saw that Chaplin had made a film in which he wasn't appearing, called A Woman of Paris, and I was absolutely knocked flat. Because suddenly the whole medium grew up before my eyes. Nobody had ever really done any realistic films at all before here. Suddenly here was a grown-up film with people behaving as they do in life. And scenes treated with an enormous sophistication, like the sequence I always remembered all my life was the sequence where Monjou comes into the flat and she's furious with him and with life and everything and throws a pearl necklace out of the window and he roars with laughter.